So for those of you at home playing along, remember we need to get those weigh-ins, so you need to private message me your weigh-in. Proper procedure for weigh-in. Weigh-in at the same time, wear the same clothing, and then send that video of yourself weighing in to my private message, and then we have the record, and we do that weekly. People that want to get their measurements done, remember you have to do the fee for the measurements. We can do that tonight or make an appointment for that as another night. The Biggest Loser program is free for the support and the coaching, but if you want to get measurements and get a free session, as well as access to the app and a few other goodies, then you have to pay the $25 to RTPD. Let's see, tonight's topic, I was going to talk about how we got here. So, I've been doing this for 30 years, and I have heard the story from, I will say, women in general, of how they've gotten to the point where they were in their teens, they were an athlete, the typical story is I was an athlete, or I was never more than a size whatever, never more than X weight, and pick your number, it's going to be something lower than whatever it is in your middle age type part of your life. And then what happened is I had kids, and then, my behavior started to change as my lifestyle changed. Where it was when I was dating my husband, we'd go to the gym or we would do activities, but then, kids came along and there was just less time for that, and there was more stuff at the park or going to their baseball games, and so it became more and more sedentary activities. And, I was fine. I put on another 5 pounds here, 10 pounds there, but then, as I've gotten older, all of a sudden I hit a certain point in my life, and then the weight just kind of came on, and it was sort of all of a sudden. Usually all of a sudden it's like a 1 or a 2 year period. Does this sound familiar? Or am I just making it up?
I wish it was 5 to 10 pounds.
Well, but what I'm saying is,
I understand the gist of it.
it's sort of like this. So what happens is, typically what happens is women physiologically, in terms of their metabolism, peak around 17. And they go up until somewhere between 24, 25, where you were at your testosterone levels are at the highest, your athletic ability is going to be at the greatest because of the chemical stuff that's going on in your body. So you're very metabolically active. But then what happens is you start getting into that 34, 35 range, and 2 things happen. One, if you don't do any type of resistance type activity in those years, you're just going to lose 1% of your muscle mass every single year, okay? Unless you do something. If you do something, you can actually keep it, but if you don't, you're going to lose 1% per year. And it's compound, just like compound interest. So you lose 1%, and your overall is not burning as many calories when you're just sitting around. But your eating habits stay the same. As we get older, we tend to eat out more because, the kids and whatnot, we have to run or do something, and it's quick meals, or we're in a better position where we can afford to go out and eat. And, who doesn't like to go out and eat? But when we're out eating, we're at the mercy of how they're cooking their food. And, let's face it, it tastes good, and there's a lot of calories when they give it to you. Typically, if you go to a restaurant meal, I highly doubt that any restaurant meal is less than, I would find it hard to believe that it would be less than 1,200 calories. And think about that. If you take a steak this big, like at Wildfire, mushrooms, and right there you're at 1,200. So, and we'll eat the whole meal. So you have a lifestyle as we're older that is less activity, more calories, and less exercise because we're making less time for that. And so what happens is at some point your metabolism shuts down, and within a 1 or 2 year period, very close usually to menopause, you're packing on 20 pounds and you're like, what the heck happened? So, how do we reverse that? We look at what happened. So the key to losing weight is raising your metabolism, because then you're effectively using your muscle tissue as a leverage point to help you not gain weight. So that's what we do in this class. We do a lot of squats, we do a lot of chest presses, we do lat exercises. These are exercises that are designed to stimulate the muscular activity of that particular muscle. So when you do a chest press or a push-up and you feel it here, those muscles have used the energy stored within them and they're weaker, right? Try doing some more push-ups, you're not going to be able to do them. You're tired, right? So tired equals weaker. So for the next 24 to 48 hours, you're building back that muscle tissue, which is in turn speeding up your metabolism. So that when you're eating the same calories that you're eating now, your body's burning a few more. Does that make sense? Whereas before the activity, you were just eating the same calories and your body was burning less because less metabolic activity. So this is the reverse of that. Resistance training is the reverse of that. Cardio is another part of that. Cardio also raises your metabolism. Do you know what I mean by cardio? What do I mean? Like treadmill, bike, swimming, walking, all that stuff. Exactly. When you do those things, you're burning calories off, but you're not burning it from your leg muscles when you're walking. You're burning that from, not the same way a chest press or a push-up. So a chest press or push-up, you do 15 reps and you're tired. Walking, you take 15 steps. Unless you have something really wrong with you, you're not tired, right? So what happens, in fact, you take 1,500 steps and you're not nearly as tired as 15 push-ups. Why do you think that is? Because the metabolic demands of walking or running or swimming or jogging or biking are much less. Now they burn more calories than the chest press, but the metabolic demands are less. So they don't have to use as much energy, so you don't raise the metabolism of those muscles. Where you get the energy for those activities is really from your bloodstream and your fat stores. Now that's good, but what happens is after 30 minutes, you've maximized the amount of fat that you're going to burn, if you're walking, jogging, swimming, biking, running, any of those, up to about 45 minutes. So what I'm telling you is, if you're going to do cardio, we talked about this the other day, I got to do more cardio, 30 to 45 minutes. And then cardio for weight loss, the best cardio for weight loss is faster, slower. Now, if we're just starting, faster, slower could be 1 mile per hour and rest. Stop the treadmill, catch your breath. 1 mile per hour, rest, stop the treadmill, rest, stop the elliptical, whatever it is. I know people that this has happened to. It's okay. You can get there. But you have to do 1 mile per hour, do it for a minute, or however long you can, then you're out of breath, stop, catch your breath, and get back on. So you get accumulation of at least 5 to 10 minutes. All right? These are for people who are really having a hard time struggling. Now for people who maybe can get on a treadmill or a bike, and they can do, 3 or 4 miles an hour, and they're not out of breath, the next thing I'm going to look at is, are you operating enough intensity? So how do you know? So when you're operating, you're able to go 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, how do you know if you're going fast enough? Well, there's a trick. If you're walking and talking, not like I'm talking, but if you're walking and talking and you're breathing a little heavy, and you kind of have to catch your breath, then you're doing it properly, okay? So you have to catch your breath a little bit, but you're able to catch your breath. So you're walking, but you're able to catch your breath, but you feel like you're out of breath. That's the perfect level to condition your heart. And that's the most important muscle in your body. So we need to get at least 3 days a week for about 30 minutes of exercise on your heart. Now in my class, if you're winded and breathless, you're getting your heart. And you know you're winded and breathless. So that counts as a cardio day. Okay? That counts for your heart. Now, the other part of the equation is calories. We cannot exercise enough calories to lose weight. Not unless you want to start digging ditches. Anybody, actually, I've got some ditches in my head. No, okay. So, there's just no way. So what you have to do is you have to cut your caloric intake. So what is the best way to do that? Well, the best way to do that is to start by analyzing your food intake. And you can take any one of the apps, and some of you have my app, and some of you have MyFitnessPal. So you keep track of all of the food that goes in your body on a daily basis for 3 days. Have you guys done that? Are you back to it?
Not yet.
Not yet, but we're working up to it, right?
Right, I'm here
We're
tonight.
working up to it, we're here tonight. And I understand, and what I try to do in these meetings is encourage and help you make the decisions to get there, but I'm never gonna force you on what you do. I'm just gonna tell you, well, you know, if you, remember when you food logged and you lost the weight? Why do you think that was? It's because you were paying attention. And that's the whole key. Most of us get into a situation with our weight because, you know, we're sitting around and we're just eating. We're eating out of nervousness, we're eating out of boredom, we're eating out of sometimes hunger, but then sometimes we're just eating. You know what I mean? And so we have to make ourselves more purposeful in our behaviors. It's good to know why we're eating. There's, you know, if we're stressing out about something in our life, then, you know, let's deal with that stressor, right? Let's not ignore it. Maybe we need to journal about it or something, but let's not ignore that. But the eating part is a symptom. But if we're eating out of boredom, that's also another thing. So if that's happening, we need to occupy ourselves with something. So maybe we pick up a different hobby, or, you know, we can look at behavior and when is it happening? Is it happening at work in the middle of the day? Is it happening before bed? When is it happening? What strategies can we employ to avoid the behavior that's getting us that thing? You know, we really need to find 100 or 200 calories a day to get out of our diet. Now, you don't actually have to do a super duper, dietary analysis. Does everybody eat the same thing for breakfast? No? Always different? How about you?
Same
Do you eat breakfast?
Toast, coffee.
Toast, coffee? How about you?
Most of the time I do.
You eat breakfast? What do you have?
Oatmeal or eggs. I remove bread from the diet.
Okay.
Usually I was eating like toast.
Okay.
Incorporated more fruit as a reason.
Okay.
I swap between 3 different things.
What are they?
Eggs, a protein shake, or cereal.
Okay, all right. So, when we look at those choices that we have, right? If we can narrow it to things that we enjoy eating, right? And that are going to be lower glycemic index, that's one of those places that we can kind of make a little bit of gain. What do I mean by lower glycemic index? Protein is a lower glycemic index food, okay? Complex carbohydrates like fruit or
Cereal?
well, the cereal can and may not be. It depends on the cereal. Trixer for kids is not going to be low glycemic index, which I love. I do enjoy a bowl of Trix. I'm not saying you can't ever have these things, but I'm saying, again, if you want to lose weight, you want to avoid those high sugar, quickly converted to sugar type things. Bread tends to be a quickly converted sugar, okay? Cereal tends to be that way, but you can slow it down by adding fresh fruit into it. So if you take, for example, like one of the Special K breakfast cereals and add a bunch of berries, like they actually put on this kind of thing, if you add that many berries, like blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, they immediately change the glycemic index of what you're eating a little bit. Okay, that's apparent. You're making a face, what's going on?
Oh, I'm just cold.
Oh, okay. So you immediately change the glycemic index of that meal. And what do you add? You add fiber, you add bulk, you add roughage. So I'm a big believer in fruits and vegetables. I find that they are the secret weapon to weight loss. But not everybody likes fruits and vegetables. I mean, this is talking from a kid who used to take his green beans and drop them on the floor and then kick them underneath the kitchen table so that I didn't have to eat them. Dad once made me eat something and I threw up in my milk. And then he was going to make me drink the milk and Mom was like, that's it, you go to bed. No, Gene. But I digress. So I never liked my vegetables either. But what I have found is they were cooking them wrong. Man, if you take, for example, broccoli, which I used to hate broccoli. take broccoli, a little bit of olive oil on there, salt and pepper, throw it in the oven and burn it a little bit. That's some good stuff. Take some Brussels sprouts, slice them thin, get rid of the stems, same thing, a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper, roast them in the thing. Again, winner, just about every single vegetable that you roast tastes better. Gives you a little bit of a sweet flavor, it caramelizes the sugars in it that are natural, and they come with nutrition. So they have the ability to fill your stomach without adding all those calories. So if you don't want to count your calories with an app, we can count our fruits and vegetables. And so our first goal might be to get 5 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables per day. I know I say this stuff over and over again, right? It's like I'm a broken record, but it really does work. Now, if that doesn't work for you, you're going to have to protein it up. That means you're going to have to go with a lot of protein, and you're going to have to limit those rice, bread, pasta. Even potatoes are a little bit better, but you got to limit those 3 because they turn. Unless you're doing hours and hours of cardio, or you actually are digging ditches, you just don't need that many calories. You know what a proper serving of pasta is? Show me with your hands what you think the proper serving of pasta is. Yeah, about that. About a fist. When was the last time you ate a fist of pasta? Anybody? Right. So, what do you do about that? You go to a restaurant and they give you, the good stuff. So what are you going to do? Anybody got an idea?
I'm going to take the kids to Portillo's after this, so the struggle is going to be real.
Okay. Well, let's talk about it. So we're going to Portillo's, and the struggle will be real. So what's on that menu that you can order that would be a good thing on the struggle?
Water.
No, there's more there. There's more there. I'm not super familiar with it. Anybody familiar with it? Got suggestions? What do you think?
They have lots of salads,
They have lots of salads.
good salads.
What kind of salad, what salad leaf do we want to focus on? Stay away from the iceberg. Iceberg for cocktail.
The Italian beef leaf.
Okay, so Italian beef is not horrible. So get yourself an Italian beef. Don't eat the bread, or throw away half of the bread. Eat it with a
We're
fork.
from Chicago.
I know. Where do you want to be? What you want to do?
Understood.
Here's your choice.
Understood.
So you can still have it, but you can cut your calories out by eating half the bread, throw half the bread out, and then eat all the meat and half the bread. Just get rid of a little bit of the bread. And you've all, like, the bun right there in that sandwich is 200 calories.
I've been going hard for 2 weeks.
So
I'm not going to fall
So
off.
you cut the bread off. So you cut the bread in half.
Thank you.
Cut the bread in half.
Okay.
You still have the bread, right? But now you've got 100 calories of the bread instead of 200 calories of the bread, right? And then the other option, stay away from the fries.
My go-to is that pasta. The mozzarella is that.
Okay,
It's right
fine.
there.
So what you're gonna do is you're gonna eat half of it and take half of it home.
What I used to do when I go to restaurants, because we eat out all the time, is I always ask for a container first thing. So that way, the minute my meal gets there, I cut half of it, put it aside, and then that's gone. So then I only eat what's on my plate. Because otherwise, if I eat half of it and then leave it there, then I start talking, and then I start eating the rest of it, and before I know it, it's all gone.
Thank you.
Soup. Soup is a very good tool for weight loss. Do you know why? Soup fills you up. They have minestrone soup there, and they'll have a vegetable soup on the menu.
Oh, I've never tried this.
So you go with and
Soup's good.
minestrone and vegetable soup count as a vegetable for the day. That's a serving.
How do you feel about canned soups with the salt?
Canned soups, the salt thing, salt's an issue if you have high blood pressure. Okay? If you don't have high blood pressure, then it's not as much of an issue. If you do have high blood pressure and you're eating the soup with the salt, that may be a problem, but it may also be able to be mitigated with extra water. Okay? So consult your doctor, or I have a dietitian who you can consult about that. I'm not as, there's gonna be some degrees of what you can handle and what you can't handle and stuff like that. Or you could be like my dad, when he said, cut the salt, he salted his salt, and the man lived to 84 and died of cancer, so there is that. But what I'd caution you from when we're in the soup category is more like the cream soups and the stuff not because they have the cream and they're high in fat. There are diets that can accommodate that, but they don't have any nutrition. Where's the vegetable in cream clam chowder? There is none. Now, if you go with the red one, then you've got the tomatoes, or any of the tomato-based soups. They're all going to give you that nutrition. Yeah.
Let's say Panera has a new soup. It's a 10 vegetable soup.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's only 70 calories for a cup and I think 120 or 130 for the
I'm
bowl.
a bread person,
So-
though. Panera would tempt me.
But they got a lot of other things at Panera too.
Thank you.
Well, and the other thing is, if you're
And
going to go
it's called the
bread,
10 vegetable soup.
Thank you.
you can always cut a piece of bread out of your diet. And that's an easy calorie to get rid of. And then substitute it with a fruit or vegetable. What other things do we have to get around?
I tell you why I struggle. It's two areas:
Yeah,
food satisfaction and feeling full.
okay. All right, so feeling full and food satisfaction. What do you find satisfying? Crunchy? Is it salt? Is it sugar?
Crunchy, salt.
Crunchy salt.
Mhm.
Okay. So are you a night snacker of crunchy salt items? Okay. So there are some good crunchy salt items out there that you can have, but you're not going to feel full from them. So what I'd suggest is you nosh and drink loads of water. Water is sort of your secret weapon. So water will leave you feeling full. So there's a product. Have you guys tried those veggie chips at Costco? The ones with they're made from chickpeas and peas and stuff like that. They're actually very good. They've got a nice salt flavor. They've got a good crunch to them. And you can take a handful like this, and I think you're looking at about 120 calories or so. So if you space that out and you're noshing on that, then you have a little bit of, you get that salt, you get the crunch, and then you load up on the water to feel full. The other thing is, be purposeful when you do it. Have your chip, enjoy it. Don't be doing something else, because then it's really what you're doing is you're eating out of work, and you're not paying attention. Other ones? So the other thing, any other ideas for, the other thing if you want to feel full is protein is going to leave you feeling more full than like a chip, okay? And it'll last longer.
Like nuts?
Yes.
We do a lot of nuts.
Nuts.
I'm
Nuts are
eating
high in calories,
Greek yogurt.
but they're high in nutrition. Greek yogurt, also real good.
I was surprised the cup, I'm good. It's 8 ounces, I'm good.
Great.
I was surprised.
And you know what, if you take
And
fresh
add
fruit,
I
if you add fresh fruit to that, it's almost like an ice creamy, it's not ice cream, I mean, let's be honest. But it's sort of like, kind of in the ballpark in the sense that you're getting that creamy dairy and then the sweetness from the fruit. So you're kind of getting a little bit of that. And if you throw in some nuts, it's kind of almost like a banana split. If a banana split was yogurt, fruit, and nuts, and no sugar. Okay, it's nothing like a banana split.
Put that
Who am I
yogurt in the
kidding?
freezer for a while
Who am I
too.
kidding? But
It even has more of a
it's
texture like ice
way
cream.
better for you than a banana split. And how many really, honestly, is a banana split that good? I've never really.
We keep talking about ice cream. I'm gonna go to Baskin Robbins.
You know what I did last year? That
I
was
haven't
really good?
had a cheat meal really since I started.
Okay.
So that
For me, it's the
How-
planning time. Like
Yeah.
that's what it really takes is the planning. And one of the things is, because I'm an ice cream person too, is if you take yogurt and put it on wax paper, and then drizzle a little bit of honey and like raspberries and put it in your freezer and then chip it off. It is like a good, satisfying. It really
That's
is.
a good one.
Uh-huh.
So you bring up another thing that we talk a lot about in these meetings is the planning. And you bring something up that's also important, the cheat meal. You do need to have a cheat meal. But you do need to earn the cheat meal, but you do need to have a cheat meal. So if you have been good for 2 weeks,
I lost 2 pounds.
that's great. What I'd like you to do is keep that up, but I'd like you to think about what you want to do for a cheat meal and plan one. Okay?
Thank
And
you.
when we
Everybody,
thank me.
everybody
No,
is
don't thank
giving their
here's how you
plan in regards to how I deal with Portillo's.
Here's how you plan a cheat meal. So in order to plan a cheat meal, you need to know what your caloric intake is on a daily basis. All the apps will have a formula to help you figure out what your daily intake should be. But generally speaking, take your body weight that you would like to be and multiply it by 12. And that's the number of calories that you need to work down towards that body weight, okay? So if you want to be 150 pounds, you would need to be taking in about 1,800 calories, okay? So, where was I going with this? The cheat meal. Cheat meal. So if you have 1,800 calories in your daily allotment of calories per day, and you know you're going to be cheating, and my cheat meal would probably be 2 IPA beers. I like my IPAs. It's about 600 calories. That means that if I'm on an 1,800 calorie a day diet, that means that I have to eat 1,200 calories very precisely so that I can have my 600 calorie cheat meal.
I like that.
Do you understand? So you're not losing anything, but the problem is, if I did that daily, I'd end up dying of malnutrition because there's no nutrition to my 2 IPAs. Same thing sort of with your ice cream. You know what I mean? But if you're planning it out, you can have whatever. You can have whatever you want, but you want to plan it out. And if you need help planning it out, comment or talk to me or go from there. We got to end things up. Do we have any questions? Other things?
So where do I start?
Where do you start? So the first thing you should be doing is either you've already got. So here's the starting point. We make sure that we're exercising 3 days a week. You're doing that. Check. Make sure that we're getting our heart rate up into our target heart rate zone at least 3 days a week for about 30 minutes. Check. Count how many fruits and vegetables you're eating per day. Not doing that? Start step 1. Get some baseline idea of how many calories you're eating on a daily basis.
So start tracking.
A legitimate, honest appraisal of what your current habits are. If your current habits are supporting, here's a real good trick. If your body weight's 200 pounds and you haven't lost weight and you haven't gained weight, then your diet is supporting 200 pounds. I can guarantee you're probably burning and taking in the exact same amount of calories, right? Okay, so if you're losing weight, then obviously you're burning more than you're taking in, and if you're gaining weight, then you need to address that too. So you need to find out what are you taking in per day, and then you need to go from there and back out of it. What I'd suggest is about 250 calories off the top. So you're going to have to look at, okay, this is what I'm eating. What can I get rid of that's 250 calories? And keep it out. And that's your first step. And then your next step is to come back here next week. Tell me what that was. And if you've done that for 1 week, just so you know, 250 calories, 3,500 calories is 1 pound of fat. 35 or 3,600?
35.
35?
I think it was 35.
It's 35. 3,500 calories is a pound of fat. So whatever 250 calories per day divided into 3,500, that's how many days it'll take you to get that pound of fat. I think it's 15 days. Boom. Boom. 15 days you've lost a pound of fat. So that's your first step. Any other questions? I'll let you guys get out of here. Weigh in, send me those weights to my instant messenger, and if you have any questions or concerns, you can reach me through the Facebook page, or you have my phone number, 773-775-2865. We fit your goals, we fit your needs, we fit